What's up, guys? David from 12 Volt Technologies here, bringing you along on another one. We're doing a 2005 Scion TC and installing a Sony InDash radio. This is the DSX-M80, and we're pairing it with the Audiofrog G60S speakers in the front doors and a little bit of sound deadening material.
Should be good though. What do you think? Do we want to start with door speakers or start with the radio?
We kick this one off with the radio installation, getting that factory Pioneer out of the dash there.
So the simplest way is to pop up this cover inside of here. The clips are pretty small. This is a shift override, so if you needed to tow the car, you could tow it. But now that that's out of the way, you can see this whole section will come out of here. Is. And then we can get that guy to clear over there, and then we can unplug this. Ouch. Short the thingus, and then you're hunting a fuse. Yep, so see how you got these big finned hooks up here? But then we're just undoing these two Phillips and then the two 10 mils in the back.
We opted for keeping this center dash bezel in the car. It's got a couple airbag indicators on it, and unplugging that stuff can set the airbag light.
You want to be really careful with the metal.
Not against all that.
We're just reattaching the shifter trim here. I'm gonna have David get started wiring up the harness for us and getting that all soldered up and ready to go into the car. While he's working on that, I'm gonna be preparing the Bluetooth mic and getting that installed.
Gonna add a bit of abrasion resistant tape here to this microphone cable. Get it ready to be protected as we run it back through the dash.
This abrasive tape is highly heat resistant and protects the wiring from any sharp edges or metal that it might see. Now that we've got the cable fished through, we're going to work on getting the microphone mounted. We just wipe off the mounting surface with a bit of rubbing alcohol. Helps really ensure that this adhesive sticks. Now that we've got the wiring run and the microphone mounted, we need to secure the wiring back in the dash. We find a couple other bits of wiring loom to zip tie this to, try and build a whip that goes up towards the body of the radio and keeps everything super, super tidy. This microphone can be mounted in a number of places in the vehicle, so we've got plenty of extra cable here. We're just going to loom up this extra, get it secured and zip tied back into the dash.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now that the Bluetooth microphone is all wired and ready to go, we can work on getting the radio mounted in the kit. This will hold the radio in the right spot in the dash, fill in all the gaps, and look good doing it.
At least as far as the planet's concerned.
Yeah.
The world without bugs is a pretty bleak place. That's looking right. There she is. And I really like these American International kits. They just like look good. Probably a stupid thing to say, but I really do. Yeah, these Sony radios are really cool. Actually, you're gonna get 50 watts RMS to the front here. Yeah, it should be pretty cool. Yeah, I actually I run the same exact radio in my Jeep. I got a little off-road Jeep, and Sony does a cool thing where you can take the two rear channels. If you're not running them to a speaker, you can actually join them together to power a small subwoofer. So it's kind of cool. You don't have to run a whole amp. Very versatile. Yeah. Behind that door that held the
Yeah, that was.
But what that does mean is when you got a big old volume knob like these radios have, you can kind of run into issues where they contact. So what I always try and do is kind of recess the radio back into this cavity as far as it's, you know, can reasonably go. Yeah, otherwise that door can contact it. Oh yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, it makes 50 watts.
You can see we're adding that abrasion resistance tape to the USB connection here. The Sony has a USB at the rear and a USB at the front, which was important for this client.
So what I did to make sure we didn't need to run an additional, that'll keep that USB nice and safe.
Now we just got to fish that USB over into the glove box so it's readily accessible for the client when he wants to plug in his iPod. Now that we have the body of the radio in the vehicle, we can work on more cable organization. We've got that Bluetooth microphone connected, and we're lengthening it and securing it with zip ties so that it makes one nice umbilical out of the back. This organization back here is one of the things that really sets us apart from a lot of the other guys in this space. Most other aftermarket radios you pull out of the dash are just full spaghetti back there.
Okay. Beautiful. Well, it looks good, dude. This is perfect.
We got some beautiful solder joints here, and this harness is ready to go into the car. All we have to do now is shrink the heat shrink and add some protective tapes.
Now we've got our wiring all set up here. We can get the radio back into the dash. Happens. And then these have some pretty big hooks at the top.
Yeah, so you gotta like.
Yeah, you gotta kind of rotate this whole assembly down in there. And then it helps to close the door because it's got this big weird arm over here.
So you don't gotta deal with that.
There she is. Beautiful. No, you're good. And that's the idea. clears, doesn't contact, looks nice. He's got access to his USB in here. He's also got the new USB fished over here, so if he wants to plug in an iPod and forget about it, beautiful.
After Kayla back knew that there were people that would be praying with her. A couple of hours later, after she left the hospital, she received over 1,000 notifications. This community of people is.
So you gotta kind
of gotta go in first.
yeah,
And there's apps that people can
perfect.
for one another.
And just like that, we've wrapped up the radio install. Now we can dive into this speaker project. These doors aren't too bad. 3 screws, that one panel pops off and hides these 2 behind the door pull. Then just a bunch of clips all the way around.
I'm thinking we'll be able to do a measurement. It won't be exactly the way that the stock system sounded, but it'll be close. Yeah, that switch is not gonna be easy to take apart. Yes, you got a bunch of clips this way. The door panel comes straight out towards you.
Straight out? Okay.
Yep.
I thought it was like-
And then it's under this, so you want to kind of rotate. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. And then I'll just sneak in here and undo these guys for you. There you go.
Now we're just giving the door a quick once over, getting our bearings, and getting ready to start on the speaker install. Scion's nice enough to rivet these guys into the doors, so got to put in a little bit of extra work to get these guys out. Once you finally get the speaker off the door, you still got to get the body of the rivets out. At this point, we've only drilled off the heads, and these rivet bodies will actually prevent our speaker bracket from sitting down against the door panel flush and creating a good seal.
Do be like that though. Just kind of roughly looking at the door here, I'm thinking that we're gonna need to take the windows back up a little bit.
We nut and bolt these brackets into the doors. It keeps the mounting very firm and makes it so we don't have to worry about rattles down the road.
Fasteners? Yeah.
Speaking of Ramona, I saw Austin on Sunday.
Is he in Ramona?
That's where his biological mom's using
Oh, I had no idea. Crazy.
for how we got talking.
Stuff, and you know, the world, especially San Diego, is such a small town. Which is crazy because there's so many freaking people here, you know? Yeah, they do that. This is finger tight.
Now we're just pulling that factory tweeter off. We got to get the factory tweeter off of this bracket and adapt it to fit the Audiofrog tweeter.
One thing that's important to keep in mind when you get started on this deadener is where the door card actually goes. Yeah, so like if I put this down here, it's gonna hang out below the door panel.
Yeah, so you gotta be like.
You want to make sure that the plastic doesn't rip, I guess is ultimately the most important bit. Because that plastic needs to, yeah, it needs to provide a water barrier. And then when you're applying this deadening material, you want to be conscious of where the screws and stuff all need to go. So you don't want to cover up, you know, important bits.
You saw me doing that tap test earlier. I do that often to figure out where the best place to apply new deadener would be. The really, really resonant bits on the door will kind of vibrate and sound like a drum. Now we're adding sound deadening material to the inside of the door. We want to prioritize the area around the speaker, as this will carry the most acoustic energy. Now we've switched over to the door cards. It's also important to get the areas immediately around the speaker. I also like to kind of prioritize the door pockets because people put stuff down there and you can hear it buzzing and vibrating. Now we're jumping into the speaker install. You can see I've got that Audiofrog G60S tweeter mounted on the factory tweeter plate, and we're just getting the mid-bass installed on the new plastic brackets. We've also got these silicone coupling rings behind the speaker. These act like a seal to keep the back wave away from the front wave. These silicone baffles also help couple the front wave of the speaker to the door panel and ensure that all the energy makes it out past the plastics to your ears.
I think we got it. I just want to make sure I get this wiring up in the right direction.
Over here.
What do you mean? So 4 wires inside of here. This post is connected to this post, and this post is connected to this post. So inside of here, there's just a bar that loops those back around. What comes out and goes into the tweeter comes out of the top here. So it literally comes straight up out the top and then goes into this capacitor, which is how they filter out the low frequencies. This is literally a crossover, just like the boxes that we're installing. And then it goes into the legs of the tweeter. So for us, that means in the door here, we have the same thing. We have 2 wires that are coming from the car and 2 wires that are going out to the mid bass that's going to be down here. So what we need to do is take out the wiring that's coming from the car and fish it to over here where we're going to be running our new crossovers, and then fish our new outputs out and up to the speakers in the car. Because we need new crossovers that better match the crossover points of the new speakers. You're going to want to pull this blue and green twisted pair out of the loom.
And keep doing that until they're down there?
Yep, and fish it all the way down over to here where we have room for the new crossovers. So you can see the tweeter has a big capacitor. It's got some inductors and some resistors, and then the woofer has a big old inductor, and that's so that 1, acoustically it sounds better, but also 2, it better matches up with the frequency that the speakers are able to play.
Crossover is basically filters.
Yep, cuts off the high frequencies, so this is called a low pass filter, and this is a high pass, allowing the highs to pass. For each of these, where there's an input, which is the red and black, and then an output. And the output needs to go to the respective speaker, and the input needs to get signal from the car. And I'm thinking actually while you're doing that, I'm gonna just extend those with some solder over here.
Yeah, so these are coming from the car, so these are the ones that you shoot.
Yes, sir.
Do you want me to get heat shrink?
Which means light green would need to go to red.
Light green. Was it over the plastic?
Yep.
Oh yeah, because that's
Water barrier. You could. It's not going to hurt anything as long as it's on the outside of the water barrier. That goes to red.
seating.
Oh, I know exactly what you're saying.
And here's a quick look at our wiring in this
Good.
door. You can see the
It's nice and
crossovers
organized.
zip tied in place, and the new tweeter, all the wiring kind of run with the factory loop.
So it is. Perfect. Looking good, man. Yep. And then you're gonna slowly lower this guy into the right spot. Yep, and you wanna hook that side over there. So kick the bottom out. There you go. And then we're gonna seat the clips.
Now that we have all the speakers in and the radio, we're going to jump in and do a quick listening test. Obviously, it sounds a little bit different in real life, and YouTube doesn't do it justice, but this is actually footage of the sound of the new setup. Thanks for coming along with us on this one. If you guys have feedback for me, go ahead and leave it in the comment section.